A cheap e-bike is useless if it dies halfway home. You spend good money, you ride it to work, you hit a hill, and suddenly the battery is gone. Now you are pedaling a 70-pound metal frame with dead weight on your back. Most e-bike ads give you a number: 60 miles, 80 miles, maybe even 100. But that number is a fantasy. It is tested on flat roads with a light rider at low speed. That is not real life. Today, we are cutting through every lie on the spec sheet. We found 10 e-bikes under $1,500 that actually deliver serious range, and we are showing you the real numbers, not the ones the brand paid to print. Let's start the countdown. Number 10, Electric XP4. At number 10, we start with one of the best-selling e-bikes in North America, the Electric XP 4.0. Electric has sold over 400,000 of these bikes. People keep buying it because it keeps delivering, and the XP 4.0 is the best version they have made yet. The motor runs at 750 watts with a peak of over 1,000 watts. The battery is 48 volts, 10.4 amp hours, giving you 500 watt-hours of total power. Electric advertises a range of up to 85 miles. You are not getting 85 miles. Nobody is. Here is what is real. A 150-pound rider on flat ground in eco mode might stretch this to 50 miles. An average rider at 185 pounds on mixed terrain with hills will see 28 to 38 miles per charge. Use the throttle constantly, and you will drain it in under 25. The throttle is the biggest range killer on any e-bike. When you rely on it, the motor does all the work alone. Heavy throttle use strips 20 to 40% off your advertised range every time. But here is why the XP 4.0 earns number 10. It folds, fits in a trunk, costs $999, and is UL 2849 certified, independently tested for electrical safety. For flat road commutes under 25 miles round trip, it delivers every single day. If your route has real hills though, this battery runs out fast. That is why we are moving up. The next bike costs nearly the same, but carries 125 more watt-hours in its battery, and it comes on fat tires that change the kind of roads you can ride. Number 9, EP2 Pro. At number 9, we step into fat tire territory for the first time with the Ian Joey EP2 Pro. This one sits between $899 and $999 depending on where you buy it. It is a folding fat tire bike with 20-inch by 4-inch tires, which means it grips gravel, sand, and snow in a way that a skinny commuter tire simply cannot. The motor peaks at 750 watts. The battery is 48 volts, 13 amp hours, giving you 624 watt-hours of capacity. That is 125 more watt-hours than the electric XP 4.0 for roughly the same price. ENGW claims up to 50 miles of range. Real world sits at 28 to 38 miles. Wait, that is the same real world range as the XP 4.0 with a bigger battery. Why? Fat tires. That is the answer nobody wants to hear when they are shopping for one. Fat tires create more rolling resistance than thin tires. More resistance means the motor works harder. The motor working harder means more battery drain per mile. Fat tires absorb vibration and grip the road beautifully, but they cost you range every single time. If you are riding on hard pavement, inflate those tires to the high end of their recommended range. Low tire pressure on a fat tire can eat 5 to 10% of your range before you even start climbing a hill. The EP2 Pro is built for riders who want a compact bike that can handle more than just a smooth road. For urban commuters hitting rough streets or riders who take weekend gravel paths, this bike punches above its price. The fold is fast, the storage is easy, and the build is solid. But 624 watt-hours is not enough battery for a serious daily ride in hilly terrain. The bikes higher on this list prove why bigger batteries change everything. From here, every single bike on this list carries a battery at 720 watt-hours or larger, and the range numbers start getting interesting. Number 8. ENGI Engine Pro 2.0. Number 8 is the ENGI Engine Pro 2.0, and this is where the list starts to get serious. The Pro 2.0 sits between $899 and $1,099. That price includes a 768 watt-hour battery, a peak motor output of 1200 watts producing 75 newton-meters of torque, and a full suspension frame on a folding bike. That is a rare combination at this price. ENGWE claims a long range of pedal assistance. Real-world numbers for an average rider on mixed terrain land between 35 and 50 miles. Heavier riders over 200 pounds will hit the lower end. Lighter riders on flat roads in a low-assist mode will push toward the top. Here is something most buyers ignore. Speed is one of the biggest range killers on any e-bike. A rider pushing 20 miles per hour uses almost double the battery energy per mile compared to a rider cruising at 12. Air resistance increases exponentially as speed rises. Slow down a few miles per hour and your range climbs fast. Full suspension on a folding bike under $1,100 is genuinely impressive. The motor pulls hard, the battery stores enough for a serious daily ride, and the torque sensor makes the power delivery feel smooth. The Pro 2.0 is an overlooked bike that deserves more attention. Number 7 costs more, but it comes with something that changes how you feel while riding, not just how far you go. Number 7. HeyBike Mars 3.0. Number 7 is the HeyBike Mars 3.0, which sits around $1,299. This is a full suspension folding fat tire bike with a 750 watt motor that peaks at 1400 watts and produces 95 Newton meters of torque. The battery is 624 watt hours. HeyBike claims a range that pushes towards 65 miles. Real-world numbers land at 27 to 35 miles, depending on rider weight, terrain, and how hard you lean on the throttle. On paper, the Mars 3.0 looks similar to the other fat tire folders, but it ranks higher for 2 reasons. First, 95 Newton meters of torque is a significant number. More torque means the motor climbs hills without struggling. When a motor struggles on a hill, it pulls more amps from the battery to compensate, and your range drops fast. A strong torque rating protects your range on hilly routes in a way that a weaker motor simply cannot. Second, the suspension on this bike is genuinely capable. Front fork and rear shock absorbers give this a ride feel that thin tire commuter bikes cannot match. It matters on long rides. Fatigue matters. If the bike beats you up, you use the throttle more to recover, and throttle use kills range. At $1,299 for a full suspension folding fat tire e-bike with an ultra-high torque motor, the HeyBike Mars 3.0 is one of the most complete packages on this list for the money. The next 3 bikes all carry larger battery systems, but the details between them are what separate a good bike from a great one. Number 6. Electric X-Peak 2.0. Number 6 is the Electric X-Peak 2.0, and this is Electric's full-size fat tire adventure bike. Price, $1,499. Battery, 720 watt-hours. Motor, 750 watts. Claimed range, up to 65 miles. Real-world range for an average rider, 35 to 50 miles. The X-Peak 2.0 is not a folding bike. It has 26-inch by 4-inch fat tires on a hardtail frame with a suspension fork. Hydraulic disc brakes come standard, which means your stopping power does not fade on long, steep descents the way mechanical brakes do. Electric had this bike tested to UL standards and added extra frame and fork durability tests on top of that. Why does build quality matter in a range video? Because a bike that is built to last keeps delivering that range over years of riding, not just months. Battery health is directly tied to how the bike is ridden and stored. A well-built bike with quality components tends to have better battery management systems, which protect long-term capacity. The X-Peak 2.0 is built for riders who want something they can take beyond the pavement. Light trails, gravel roads, rough urban streets, this bike handles all of it. It does not fold, but it loads easily onto a rack. At $1,499, the build quality justifies every dollar. But what about a bike with that same 720 watt-hour battery and a torque sensor, the one piece of technology that quietly extends your real-world range on every single ride? Number 5. Aventon Aventure.2. Number 5 is the Aventon Aventure.2, and the detail that pushes it ahead of every other 720 watt-hour bike on this list is one small piece of technology called a torque sensor, BRIS. $1,499. Battery, 48 volts, 15 amp hours, 720 watt hours. Motor, 750 watts with an 1130 watt peak. Claimed range up to 60 miles. Real world for mixed terrain, 30 to 45 miles. Most of the bikes below this on the list use cadence sensors. A cadence sensor detects when your pedal is spinning and triggers the motor to assist you. The problem is that it helps at a fixed level regardless of how hard you are actually pushing. The motor gives you the same power going uphill as it does on flat ground. On a hill, that is not enough. On flat ground, it is too much and wastes battery. A torque sensor measures how hard you push the pedal. The harder you push, the more help the motor gives. On a flat road, you barely push, the motor barely helps, and the battery saves power. On a hill, you push harder, the motor responds, and you get the climb without draining the battery all at once. Riders on torque sensor bikes consistently see better real-world range than cadence sensor bikes with the same battery. The Aventure.2 is one of the only bikes on this list in its price range that ships with a torque sensor as standard. Aventon is also known for realistic range estimates. That 60-mile claim is based on eco mode with steady pedaling, closer to what you might actually ride than the numbers from brands testing at 10 miles per hour on perfectly flat roads. The Aventure.2 carries 26-inch fat tires, integrated lights, a rear rack, and has been spotted across major cities being used daily for delivery work. It is a serious all-terrain commuter. The top 4 bikes on this list all carry batteries larger than 720 watt-hours. And at number 4, we hit 840 for the first time. Number 4. Hemiway Cruiser. Number 4 is the Hemiway Cruiser, $1,499, and the first bike on this countdown that breaks the 720 watt-hour ceiling. Battery: 48 volts, 17.5 amp hours, 840 watt-hours, using Samsung and LG cells. Motor: 150 watts with 80 newton meters of torque. Claimed range: 60 or more miles. Real-world range: 35 to 55 miles depending on the rider. The jump to 840 watt-hours is not just a number. It is 120 watt-hours of extra capacity sitting in reserve every time you leave the house. For a rider doing a 20-mile daily commute on hilly roads, that buffer is the difference between arriving with battery to spare and arriving with 3% left and sweating through the last half mile. The Cruiser comes in 2 frame styles, a regular step-over and a step-through. The step-through version carries a maximum payload of 350 pounds, which is significantly higher than the 275-pound limit most competing brands list. If you are a heavier rider, battery range drops fast when the motor is moving more weight. The Hemiway Cruiser's higher weight capacity means it was designed for that load. The numbers translate better. One thing to know, the Cruiser charges slowly with its standard 2-amp charger. A full charge from empty takes close to 7 hours. Plan to charge overnight, not during a lunch break. At $1,499 with 840 watt-hours and a 350-pound payload capacity, the Hemiway Cruiser is one of the most underrated long-range buys on this list. The top 3 bikes are in a completely different league. We are now looking at massive efficiency and real-world range that changes how often you ever need to plug in. Number 3. HeyBike Ranger 3.0 Pro. Number 3 is the HeyBike Ranger 3.0 Pro, and this is the most interesting bike on this list for one reason. Most buyers never consider. Price: $1,499. Battery: 720 watt-hours. Motor: 750 watts with 1200 watt peak, 80 newton meters of torque. Claimed range: up to 90 miles. Real-world range: 40 to 60 miles. This battery is smaller than the Hemiway Cruiser at number 4, but this bike ranks higher. Why? Because the Ranger 3.0 Pro approaches 60 miles of real-world range from a 720 watt-hour battery. That means the system is extremely efficient. Torque sensor, smart motor calibration, and the step-through folding frame all work together to stretch every watt-hour further than competing designs at this battery size. This is a full suspension folding bike. Hydraulic front fork, rear air shock, adjustable so you can tune it to your weight for a more efficient ride. NFC startup lets you unlock it with a card. The electrical components carry an IP65 water resistance rating. The real lesson here: a heavier, less efficient bike with a bigger battery does not automatically win on actual range. Efficiency matters just as much as raw capacity. The Ranger 3.0 Pro proves that. For commuters who want a folding bike they can store under a desk, toss in a trunk, and still ride 40 to 60 miles without a charge stop, the Ranger 3.0 Pro is one of the best options under $1,500. Number 2 has the biggest single battery on this entire list, 960 watt-hours of power in a fully integrated frame. The range this thing delivers in real life will surprise you. Number 2. Himiway Cobra D7. Number 2 is the Himiway Cobra D7, $1,499, and this bike carries the largest battery we have seen on this entire countdown. Battery: 48 volts, 20 amp hours, 960 watt-hours, fully integrated into the frame, protected from rain and road debris. Motor: redesigned 750 watt rear hub motor. Claimed range: up to 80 miles. Real world range: 45 to 65 miles. Nice 160 watt-hours is a serious number. Most e-bikes in this price range come with 500 to 720 watt-hours. The Cobra D7 carries almost double what the electric XP 4.0 at number 10 carries. For a rider doing a 25-mile daily commute on hilly roads, this battery means charging every 2 to 3 days instead of every single day. That is a fundamental change in how you live with this bike. The 26-inch by 4-inch fat tires handle gravel, snow, sand, and rough urban roads without losing grip. Multiple independent reviewers have confirmed the Cobra D7's real-world battery output, making the 960 watt-hour rating one of the most trusted numbers in this price class. Here is the honest limitation. The Cobra D7 is a large and heavy bike. If you live in an apartment building and need to carry it upstairs regularly, this is not the right choice. It is best suited for garage storage or ground floor access. But if storage is not an issue, the battery advantage is real and consistent every single ride. And at number 1, a bike with a completely different design philosophy. One that does not just give you one large battery, it gives you the option to carry more. This is the bike built specifically for riders who refuse to stop. Number 1, Fiido Titan. Number 1 is the Fiido Titan, and this bike earns the top spot because no other bike on this list was designed from the ground up with range as its single purpose. The Titan starts at $1,499 in single battery configuration, and it regularly goes on sale below that price. The battery is 48 volts, 14.5 amp hours, 696 watt hours, smaller than the Cobra D7 on paper. So why does it sit at number 1? Because the Fiido Titan is the only bike on this list built around an expandable battery architecture. The frame was designed to accept additional bolt-on batteries. A second battery takes the system to roughly 1,400 watt-hours. A third takes it further still. No other bike in this price range gives you that road. But even on a single battery, the Titan is a serious machine. Fiido claims up to 84 miles on a single charge. Real-world independent testing puts it at 50 to 60 miles on mixed terrain with an average rider, among the strongest single-battery real-world numbers on this list. In cold weather, real-world tests have shown 30 to 50 miles even with the battery working against low temperatures. The motor is 750 watts with a torque sensor at the bottom bracket. The sensor reads how hard you push the pedal and responds instantly. On hills, you push harder, the motor gives more. On flat roads, you ease off, the motor saves power. That efficiency directly shows up in the real-world range numbers. The Titan carries 26-inch by 4-inch fat tires, 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes, stronger stopping power than the 2-piston setups found on most bikes at this price, front suspension, and a maximum payload capacity of 440 pounds. That payload number is not a marketing figure. Independent reviewers have taken delivery riders and loaded cargo on this frame and confirmed it holds. The Titan was UL certified for electrical safety. That certification matters because it means the battery management system has been independently tested, not just printed on a box and hoped for. When a battery ignites, it does not ask whether you bought a cheap bike or an expensive one. Verified safety testing is not optional. Here is the final truth this video has been building toward. No e-bike, not this one, not any of them, will hit its advertised range in real-world conditions. The only way to make your e-bike go farther is to understand what is draining it. Ride at a steady pace. Use the lowest assist level your route allows. Keep your tires inflated to the high end of their range. Pedal through the flat sections and save the motor for the climbs. Stay off the throttle unless you need it. Those 5 habits will add 10 to 20 miles to any bike on this list, more than any battery upgrade could. The bike that goes the furthest is not always the one with the biggest number on the box. It is the one you know how to ride. Conclusions, that is the list. 10 e-bikes under $1,500 ranked by real range, not what the spec sheet says, but what actually happens when you are out there riding.